then he went on MSNBC and he went, hey, man, I'm just talking about there being too many people, man. Hey, man. The guy can barely talk. You always notice the top priest of this thing are addled weirdos. And you go to his official UT website, he's out there with his buffalo, and there's weird cryptic statements. You can't make up reality. It's too weird. He's dressed in a druidic priest outfit with a Gandalf staff talking about Lucifer. That's in my film Endgame, by the way. And I've told this story. We covered it at the time. I started getting emails and calls and all sorts of stuff of, you know, remove this photo off the website. I don't give you permission of me there, you know, with him from the local paper or this other person. Don't you talk about this. And then here's my graduate paper. I'm now a PhD in molecular biology at such and such. And then I went and searched the people's names. And they'd be in white lab coats at bioweapon labs, sending me threatening emails saying, Dr. Pianka is too liberal. We must get rid of all humans as parasites. And then you look up their name, and they're in white lab coats running bioweapon facilities. I mean, do you understand the danger we're in? Can you even begin to grasp it? They're a cult of control freaks, and like moths to a flame. Their intellects are so small. Their souls are so crushed or non-existent that somebody gets up and projects skulls on a wall and says, get rid of humans, and they start cheering. I'll guarantee you if they do release this airborne stuff, the mouse pox, the weaponized bird flu, the Ebola, they are going to scream running for whatever cure there is. That, of course, will sterilize them. And they're going to hate what happens to them. It's I don't know why the weak worship at the altar of power, of dark, bloody power. They worship evil. They just think it gives them power. Destruction is not power. Creation is power. It doesn't matter. If we don't start turning things around, and there's some evidence we could, but if we don't really have a real gut check and grow up, and if people, I mean, if I was a new listener driving down the highway on all the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of AM and FM stations we have across the country, and I heard somebody talking like this, and I didn't know about this stuff, I would go look up what they were saying. And if I found out it was true, I would do everything in my power to warn people. Billboards, my own radio show, whatever it took. Lawsuits, you name it. If I found out that I was lying, if I found out that person was lying, I would do everything in my power to expose them. You know the reason we're being put on so many AM and FM stations. You know the reason they've had us down for over 2 years on XM. You know why we're accepted now. It's because people actually did go look. And you know what? When they look, they don't like what they find. You think I like what I find? You think I like it? People are like, oh, be a little more positive. Oh, don't be so negative. Hey, it's not negative if I come home and a tree has fallen into my house. It's happened before. And I'm looking out the roof and water's pouring in. Oh, just be positive. Imagine there's not a hole in your roof. Imagine there's not water throughout your house. No, that would be mentally ill and delusional. I got some Ron Paul news, and I'm going back to your calls, and I'll get into the big Judgment Day thing. I already covered some of it. And nobody can seem to want to do anything about this because even people that are awake say, well, Alex, you know, I'm a Christian. It's the end of the world. Next month or next year. So this is all in God's plan. No, God's plan is for you to occupy the land. God's plan is for you to fight evil. Regardless of the outcome, justice be done, may the heavens fall. And folks, again, I'll say it. If you don't believe in God, you better believe in a devil. I don't know how a lot of people say they believe in God, but not a devil. I mean, look, if there's not a devil, I'd be surprised. I mean, I'm surprised humans could come up with stuff this evil. Well, it might as well be a devil. Because let me tell you, you can't think stuff up like this. When you study these people and what they're doing, you're like, they do that? And the tricks within tricks on top of tricks in ways that it's always worse than you thought. It's always, and then it's worse after that, and then worse after that. If you can think it up, you can go Google search it, and they're doing it, and it's worse than you even thought. Bottomless pit of evil. It's a bottomless pit for a reason. And it goes to a place where we don't want to go. My dad tells a story of my sister, I think was like 4 years old or something, and they were on a vacation, and she saw a few minutes of Beetlejuice. Not really that scary of a movie, but kind of creepy. And there's a waiting room in it where the dead are waiting to, to go on to the next dimension or whatever. And my sister looks up at my dad and says, Daddy, don't ever take me there. Because they took her, to Europe and South America, Central America, all that. And she said, Daddy, don't ever take me there. Because, it looked like an airport waiting room or something. Don't ever take me there. Well, let me tell you something. Tyrants take us very bad places. That's the norm. And for people out there that can't get their minds around this, my frustration is that if we just learn to recognize evil, just learn to recognize corruption. I mean, somehow it's a conspiracy theory if you talk about government corruption. That's the answer by the paid-for media. Oh, you don't trust what known liars tell you? That's crazy. The highest, I think it was Lionel who was on with us last week made that point. Nowadays, the highest compliment is to say somebody's crazy. It's like that Gnarls Barkley song. John, if you can dig it up, let's go out with it, or let's come back in with it. Or I guess we have it. We'll come back in with it. And he says, does that make me crazy? He says, I wasn't crazy because I didn't know enough. I was crazy because I knew too much. And let me tell you, it's bottomless, folks. Just go take a look. One cannot be told about the Matrix. One cannot be told about the New World Order. Look, look, just go look. We have these headlines with these backdrops out there about, the government got caught laundering $100 billion there, billions here, all running drugs, all running guns, blame it on the Second Amendment. Nobody gets in trouble. MF Global took that $1 billion plus. No, I'm not getting in trouble. Got caught lying to Congress. So what? No big deal. Take the veterans' death benefits. No big deal. Oh, really? What's coming next? See, that's the thing about going off the cliff. No one can believe this is all happening, even as it happens. You ever been in a car wreck? And 2 or 3 seconds as you see that person running the red light seems like 5 minutes. And you're just like, oh, my gosh, I should have looked. That person's running that red light. It happened to me once in high school. I was driving with friends. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to feel good. Spinning off the road. People all bleeding, hurt, chopped up. It's the same thing. I'm just like going, oh, it's really happening. Coming right at us. By the time I got blown off the road by the tornado. It felt like 2 minutes spinning off the road, down an embankment, looking over to my dad and saying, brace for impact. Hit the oak trees. Boom, that car accordions in. We're going to go to break and get to this Ron Paul news. You got a lot of news because they like petty stuff, and they thought it was something to make Ron Paul look bad. He's in this diner. He gets mobbed by about 150, the media said over 150 news people and crews. And so they start grabbing and saying, we're not leaving Ron Paul, and grabbing at him. And some guy's on a bullhorn in there. So he goes out, and this reporter, Dana Bash, comes up and says, a lady was going to vote for you, but not after you rudely left. And he said, that's a hit piece. That's a cheap question. Jesse Benton cuts in, campaign manager, says, we're going to talk to other media here that's all lined up. And they tried to spin it like last time they said he ran out of a interview. Of course, they cut it. He said, I'll give you 10 minutes. They did 10 minutes. Said, all right, thank you. Hey, it's fine. See you later. They cut it to say he stormed out. This time they spun it. Then they put Dana Bash on CNN yesterday to say, we sure hope he doesn't get elected. because they marvel at how well he's doing, the Republican leadership. But we're just here to tell you, you still can't elect him, even if he comes in second here and wins in other states. Because I'm Dana Bash, and I tell you what to think. I get off on that you're unconscious and that you listen to me. Just like that's CNN for you. Notice in Fox's Christmas cards they send out, all the media is pulled by sheep. We pay for it. We support them. They think we're jokes, and it's time to wake up and call them on it. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That's why the globalists seek to dumb you down. They don't want you to understand how the world works. Because then they can control you, and that is a great crime against humanity. Okay, let's go to this Ron Paul clip. And this is why they always try to keep Ron Paul off my show. They always want to say I'm radical, I'm bad. Because America has put up with radical corruption. America has gotten radically comfortable with being robbed because it couldn't happen here. America has gotten way too complacent. And so I come along and slap people upside the head with a giant 2x4 reality, and they're like, oh my gosh, keep him in the basement, keep him hidden, he's crazy, it's not working anymore. And they're doing the same thing here. She's followed him around, got in his face. He's told her, leave him alone. And then she goes on CNN. This is on YouTube, shot off the TV, so the audio's not the best. And basically tells everybody, because she says so. She's going to tell you how to think, because you're one of her sheep, she thinks. The minute you break that trance, you're like, why is this chicken neck nobody arrogantly telling me how the world works? They're con men. Confidence game. Just don't play. Don't play their game anymore. Break with them. Doesn't mean go with me. Break with their bull. Admit they're arrogant. You cannot deny she's here in this clip telling you how to think. Here it is.
Now, for now, obviously, they are very much focused on getting out as many voters to the caucus sites across the state as possible tomorrow. I'm hearing from Republicans, John, who are affiliated with other campaigns, that they are amazed at how wonderful, frankly, that they say the Ron Paul organization is. We'll see if that actually bears out tomorrow. But in terms of the long term, there's no question. I'm sure you talk to Republicans who are worried as well, just like I am, that Ron Paul will continue on long into the spring and summer, even further. Even if he runs as a Republican or as an independent, he could really hurt whomever the Republican nominee is, because still nobody thinks, even if he does well here in New Hampshire, that he will ultimately be the nominee. And I'm sure you talk to Republicans who are worried as well, just like I am, that Ron Paul will continue on. Who are worried as well, just like I am. Who are worried as well, just like I am. Just like I am. Independent.
Because he can't win. Even if he wins, he doesn't win. And we're like, yes, master, we are zombies. She's like, go walk off the cliff. Yes, Master Bash, walk off cliff. I mean, and John King sits there the whole time like he's really into it. I ought to do that when I have guests on. I mean, if I'm really interested, I listen, and really pay attention. Or if I don't like what, the direction things are boring or inconsequential, I'll interrupt or whatever. I don't sit there and listen to a guest and go, John King's looking there going, oh, this is so important. All these little affectations, like, oh, you're so credible. That's like that MSNBC show where he's attacking myself and Ron Paul. And he looks to some blogger they've got. And he says, is that credible what Ron Paul and Alex Jones are saying? Is that credible? She goes, no. And he goes, see? I mean, here, I could just talk to this little cup of picante sauce. Is it credible that air is good to breathe for us? I mean, because people say we need it. Or are they conspiracy theorists? Oh, the cup of picante sauce says appeal to authority. No. All right, I'll continue with your calls after I break down the weaponized bioweapon system and what could lead to a doomsday scenario the globalists are planning. It's in the cards, but exposure can't stop them. But right now,